Our children are stolen every minute of a 24-hour day. They are being robbed of their innocence, their trust, their happiness. As parents, we are isolated and betrayed by a government we trust. States are balancing budgets on kids' lives. Only 12% of the kids taken will be reunified. Title IV funding is being riveted with fraud.
We need to stop CPS and abolish CPS.com is leading the way. Join us.
Who has been torn away from their security blanket, their parents, the ones who stopped the boogeyman from terrorizing the nights and curing their boo-boos when they scrape their knees. Now just imagine how they mightest feel when the CPS meant to protect them tears them away from their supposed abusers and places them with strangers who have zero comforting skills. They need to be calm. They are confused, lost, panicked, and needing their parents, but CPS took them away for the purpose of saving them. The kids don't even know why, and they are told that the parents they attach to no longer want them. What do you think that does? Do you think that this is how protecting children is supposed to look? Abolish CPS.
In the United States, CPS makes upwards of $3 billion per day on trafficking and selling our children. The corruption may start with the caseworker, but goes through the judicial system, passing the governor through the Senate and into the White House. The entire system has a hand in the business known as CPS.
Our children are stolen every minute of a 24-hour day. They are being robbed of their innocence, their trust, their happiness. As parents, we are isolated and betrayed by a government we trust. States are balancing budgets on kids' lives. Only 12% of the kids taken will be reunified. Title IV funding is being riveted with fraud.
We need to stop CPS and abolish CPS.com is leading the way. Join us.
Good evening, everybody. It is Saturday, and it is 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I am your host, Mr. Vinny, You are on my show, and my show is based on how to fight CPS and combat them breaking their policies and procedures, and stopping other things as well, like criminal cases that are being looked at by different judges and whatnot, and trying to find ways to combat false a false arrest, and all that. So we are CPS victims hunting for justice. It is indeed Saturday night, and you are live with me, Vinny. So I don't know where everyone is tonight, so I'm just gonna be doing the show by myself, I guess, tonight. Um, so, like I said, we are basically out here trying to help you guys. This is for educational purposes only. I am not an attorney and I am not an advocate. Um, I go through my own problems with CPS, starting back over a year ago. I do have a pending criminal case at this time with the Portland District Court. I've been trying to combat that. I just finished writing my writ of error. So I'm hoping to get that in the mail this week as well. But on a plus note, I've learned a lot. See, we got Mr. Herbert with us. Mr. Herbert, let me bring you out. Good evening, Mr.
Hey,
Herbert.
good. How about you, Vinny?
Good, good. How are you doing?
Good. What you learn?
I just got
What did
home
you
about
learn?
I just got home about 10 minutes ago. Haven't heard
So,
nothing.
what did you learn? Oh, you didn't hear nothing yet?
No, it's been pretty quiet. I was surprised because my CPS attorney told me that he was going to reach out to me tonight, and I didn't even hear back from him tonight. So it's must be at the fair night.
Oh, there's a fair going on?
Yeah, the biggest fair at the end of the year, in Freiburg,
Oh,
actually. But
okay.
yeah, so we were hectically busy at work today. Um, in little less than 5 hours, we did $5,000 in sales.
That's good, right?
That's really good.
Hmm.
It brings our hourly time clock down, which they want. We've been way above. The last time we were high, it was at like 80%, and yeah, the store got in trouble for it.
S- Yeah, but you have no control over sales.
No, no, but if like we're supposed to clock out if it usually goes first one on is the first one to leave. Well, in my case, I'm the last one from the morning crew to leave at night. So I'm I'm gonna be the first one that they have to send home early if we go above our hours.
And the more you, the store takes in, it's a good thing, right?
Yeah, the more we actually bring in, the more our sales bracket jumps up, and the more our hourly pay drops because it all goes by how many people are on the shift that are out hourly. So if you have like 5 of us that are on the clock, it clocks that pay. So me, I make a little over 17 an hour, so it's clocking my pay at 17, and then the others, and so on and so forth. So you got to figure per hour what that costs.
So, if you made 10,000, that means your hourly salary goes up more?
Jennifer Lemek, is that how you spell it? Don't know your story. What CPS situations are you in? Well, Jennifer, I'm fighting CPS on a broader spectrum. I've been dealing with them for about a year. I have not contracted with them. I have not signed any of their case plans, none of that. They took my kids illegally and kidnapped them with no warrant, no anything. And where me and my CPS attorney are actually looking into this. There's allegations against me of sexual abuse. Um, and this is unproven. There's no physical evidence. There's no physical proof. All it is based off of is third party hearsay. So that's kind of what I'm dealing with, Jennifer.
Can Jennifer come on?
I don't know. That is a good question. It's always good to get new people on the show that wanted to interact and let us hear their cases. Like I said, Jennifer, I'm not an advocate. I'm not a lawyer. We do this just to get the public knowledge out there about how CPS is violating their policies and procedures, and that there is fraud upon the courts because of them. And they are going after our children for cash. And that's what it really is about. That they pick and choose who they're going to go after and when. And it's a proven fact.
Does Jennifer have a story?
That's what I'm wondering. Jennifer, I know you're watching. Do you have a story? Would you be willing to come on the show and kind of let us hear your story? And silence.
Well, she's probably typing.
Yeah, maybe. So, oh, that's right, Carrie. We share our experiences and knowledge. We learn along the way. That we do. Speaking of which, Carrie, I finished up my writ. I was gonna email it to you and see what you think on it. Um, but I finished my writ for the criminal case today. Oh, you're watching kids. That's fine. That's fine. I totally understand, Jennifer.
So when your attorney didn't contact you, is it possible you could contact him?
I emailed him because I found some stuff that I misplaced that I couldn't find, and I found it today. So I just sent him that over. Um, and I want him to see this because this is public slander.
Yes.
And I have proof of it. So I sent it to him so him and the other attorney could see it.
Right. And but I know you email, but I was wondering, is it possible you can call him? Was it possible you could have called him?
It's kind of hard to call him because when I call him, it goes to his office.
Oh, so you don't have his like cell number or his direct number to him?
No, he's very professional. He's by the books kind of professional.
Well, nowadays professionals changed a little bit. I have at least three of my doctors, my private, my PCP and other doctors I have their cell phones where I can call them right now at home. So that thing about professional people are not doing that anymore. People are giving out, especially in your case with your attorney and the type of case he's handling with you. I would think he would just give you his cell phone.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think he tries to keep his home life out of his work life, and I
Okay.
understand that because he is a chief of a fire department, so He does a lot of different things.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, he's a really busy man. Let me tell you that. Between criminal attorney, to protection order attorneys, to criminal and CPS. So he does the fire department.
Oh, okay. Well, that would make it difficult, especially running into fires and EMS calls and related stuff. I get it.
Yeah. Carrie, I just sent you the writ that I wrote for the criminal case. Boundaries, yeah. That's what it is. It's boundaries. Which I respect, I mean, not all of us want to give out all of our information. Me, I really don't care at this point because I've been slandered across the country, far and wide.
I get it. This man is very busy, so that's why you can't contact him like that. I get it.
No, yeah, no. I mean, I think it goes to, if I was to text him, the text would go from his office to his phone. But it's Saturday. I really don't want to bother him.
I understand.
I'll let him read what I sent him and see what he has to say from it.
Yeah. There's probably nothing he could really do over the weekend.
Right. No. So Jennifer, if you're still here, do you have a story of how CPS is involved in your life? I mean, I sent Ashley the thing. Ashley's going through hell right now. She's got a lot going on.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I've never heard of a shelter that doesn't have a TV for you to watch in your rooms and don't have anything you can do and don't really have they don't let you out unless you can drive. That's pretty messed up. That shouldn't be like
Yeah.
that.
No.
Carrie, have you heard of anything like that before? Because that just blows my mind when Ashley told me that they won't let her go out unless she has someone that picks her up. That's messed up.
Well, I wonder if it has to do with the time of day and night.
Or maybe the incident of why she is in a shelter in the first place.
That's a good point. Very good point.
No. Yeah, the guy she was living with and yeah. I don't want to tell her business because it ain't my business to share. They were having issues, so she left. Put it that way. Ashley. Yeah, it's on the show. Did you get that, Carrie?
Carrie says she needs to call the Red Cross. They'll give us give her enough money to stay at a hotel for a week.
Yeah, I haven't heard back from her, Carrie, yet, but I will tell her that. I definitely will. I told her I wish she lived up, but was closer because I wouldn't let a friend that I know be homeless. That's just who I am. Oh, I got it. I only heard fire last night. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Ashley mentioned something about fire last night. That's what happened.
Yeah, she was talking about something, but it didn't have to do with whatever.
Yeah.
I hope Barry's okay. I haven't heard nothing from Darren. So, Carrie, have you heard from Darren at all, or anything about Mary? Is she okay?
I tried calling him. I couldn't get him on any of his phones.
Yeah. I don't have Bree, so I can't ask Bree. I never do either. It is why Greg made our new house smaller. Yeah, yeah. I feel you, Carrie. I'm actually been watching videos on how to build a tiny home and whatnot.
Oh, do you know you could actually buy tiny homes from Amazon?
Hmm. You could
I
actually
was- I
buy it.
just
You could buy them
yeah, I
over
just
the window close to where I work too. They sell them.
oh really? The ones I
Yeah,
saw on Amazon, they send them to you and they fold out. You just
yeah.
put it on the platform, the surface where you want it, and you just pull the walls out and you just pull it all out and everything. It just comes out like an erector set. You know,
Well,
it's really
see,
cool.
to me, what we need to do as parents is we need to find our own piece of land that's not close to anyone else, like not even like it's got some kind of distance. You're up high enough to where you're not going to flood or whatever. But we need to find a piece of land like that where we can build our tiny homes, live off grid, completely off grid. Um, do our own farming, do our own vegetables, um, all that stuff. Um, and by doing that, we're definitely off CPS's radar because they don't even know where you are. Because when you live off grid, you can have a PO box like 4 towns away.
That's true. But then, my mission is to teach people how to learn about what it is CPS is going to go after you for, and try to avoid that.
Well, I can tell you this right now. One thing they're definitely going to go after you for is if your kid's missing school and it's truant. Um, Another thing they're going to go after for is if your kid does something stupid and ends up into going to school with bruises or some kind of markings on them. That's an immediate sign right there because
Sure,
these teachers are going to report it anyways.
sure. But if you could justify all that information, for example, if a child is out of school for a while for whatever reason, you're going to go take that child to the doctors and you get a doctor's note. And when you bring the doctor's notes to the class, they can't report that to CPS.
I mean,
And if the child happens to fall down a staircase or something, I mean, again, you're going to take that child to a doctor, urgent care,
okay.
and get a note for school.
Here's a for instance for you, Herbert, as you being the one, um, how to avoid CPS or how to navigate CPS for that matter. I know someone. Okay, their son took off on his dirt bike while the mother and father were not home. Um, he went trail riding, came across the trail, okay, and didn't see a wire that was in the trail. Luckily, he was going slow enough to where he didn't hurt himself completely, but that wire did wrap around his neck and leave marks on his neck. Do you think the parent is responsible in that matter?
The parent's responsible. Okay, the responsibility of a parent of a child that can ride a dirt bike is it's kind of tight. It's kind of limited because they could say, "Don't ride the dirt bike," and then they'll go take a nap, and then the kid rides the dirt bike.
Yep.
So the parent try to do the best they can. I mean, the parent could take the keys from the kid, but even when they give the keys back, the kid will take the dirt bike knowingly. The parent knows that the kid has a dirt bike, and still go through that wire engagement
Mind
that you were just telling me about.
mind you,
So the parent,
mind you, he was out with his dad and took off on his dad.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So he took away from his dad, but he got hurt.
Yep.
So you got hurt. First thing, urgent care. Contact emergency. Contact the fire department. You get them out there to help that kid. Now you have your note that's going to go to school.
Yep.
Again, as long as it's justified, Vinny, all I'm saying, kids are going to do stupid stuff. But as
Yep.
long as you could get it justified to show you didn't cause abuse and you didn't cause the situation to show that you were a bad parent, then the CPS is not getting involved.
Yeah.
But you have to go urgent care, fire department, police department.
Yeah,
You
they
got to
did all
bring them
that.
into the
Yep.
picture.
They did all
So,
that.
and they got on the radar.
No,
Did they
I
get
don't
put
think
on the
so.
radar?
I don't think
Oh,
so.
okay.
No.
Well, do you know of a situation that's similar to that where a person still got put on the radar?
Really? No.
Yeah, I don't either. Because of all the people I talk to with all situations like that, they're the ones that's telling me they call the fire department, the police department, they go to the hospital or whatever because they're trying to avoid CPS.
A lot of parents nowadays are starting to get smart and realize, okay, CPS is the problem. Yes, people, it is correct. CPS is the problem. And that's why we do these shows, is to help you to get the knowledge that we have. Not We're not trying to tell you that the government's full on bad, but there is a lot of corruption going on. And it runs from CPS to the judges to the ADAs to the guardian ad litems. And it goes throughout. And this is a problem. And Title 4E funding is being riveted with fraud completely. I'm seeing it in my own case, people.
Tell me about Title 4E funding. What is it for?
It covers everything. So, like, if you have a contract with CPS, okay, um, you're contracted with them. That means they're supposed to be paying for every services that they're making you do. So, if they make you do counseling, they're supposed to be paying for it. If they make you do parent classes, they're supposed to be paying for that too. Um, if they have you do other programming, they have to pay for that too, and they're not.
Okay, and you have that on paper that they're responsible for paying for that. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so do you approach them with that paper and say, hey, look, it says right here, you're responsible for paying for this?
See, it's different with me because with
No,
me, I
not
never.
you, not you, Vinny. I'm just saying in general
In
for people
general,
like
you.
people like Jennifer that was on before. You see, so Jennifer, that's her name. So like Jennifer came on the show, so I'm speaking kind of like on her behalf of can't a person like that go back to CPS and say, hey, look, here it is. It's right here. You're supposed to help me.
I mean, you could, but they probably just laugh in your face because they want to keep their money, and you know
All
they
right. So then
they
what recourse, since it is on paper, what recourse would a person like that have where it says they're supposed to give them help? Who would they go to
they would
report
have
CPS?
to go to the ombudsman's and report it as fraud.
Okay.
That they will listen to. I did find
All
that
right.
out. I did find that out today. That one of my friends told me that the ombudsmans will go after um the state of Maine CPS if they're frauding the state by not using them funds for what they're allocated for.
So then people
But
have
you
to do
have to
that.
bring up the fact of fraud.
But people have to do that if they're
So
supposed to
they
be
do
getting
look into that.
support.
That is
Yeah.
a big no-no with them.
Right. So that's what people have to do.
think we're losing
And
Herbert.
no, I'm still here. Can you hear me? Hello.
You keep breaking up, Herbert.
Okay, I'm breaking up. Let me go away for a second. Try something.
And we lost Herbert. I think he's going to restart. Hopefully. Carrie, I just got that. I'll have Lynn read it over and yeah. But it's yeah, just a couple of fixes. Yeah. Yeah, it's a good writ. I mean, if they don't look at that, there's problems. But I am gonna get it notarized. That's for certain. I'm gonna have it notarized. I don't know if it's my internet tonight or what, but could be. I mean, I did come on a little bit early, and I probably should do an intermission real quick. So I'm gonna do that. While we wait for Herbert to come back, I'm gonna do an intermission. Just to kind of break up the monotonous a little bit. So with that said, Herbert, I'm gonna do a quick intermission.
Okay. Can you hear me better now? I moved in a different location.
So, yeah, I
Can
hear
hear
you
me?
much better.
Okay,
All right,
I
I'm
moved
gonna
in a
do
different
this
location.
quick intervention real quick. Intervention, whatever it is. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Trying to get it to do it. You there, Herbert?
Yep, I'm here. Can you hear me? I can hear you.
No.
I can hear you.
All right, we're gonna try this. Yeah, we're gonna try this intermission. All right, we're gonna try this intermission real quick.
I thought that was the intermission.
See if it does it.
Hey, Vinny,
All right, and we are back.
Vinny,
Yeah.
you did the intermission. You did the intermission twice, right?
Well, no, I lost connection. My internet
Oh
is
no.
wonky.
Okay, no. When you said you're going to do the intermission the first time, it came on.
Oh,
The
well,
intermission
yeah,
came
my
on.
internet dropped out as soon as I was trying to click on it.
Oh, I'm just telling you that.
Well,
Just to
I
let you
mean,
know,
that's
right?
good.
Just let you know. The first time you said you're going to do it, it came on, and the second time it came on again. So you did it twice.
That's all right. It did a
Okay.
little bit of an intermission there. Um,
Okay.
so anyways, I, I didn't get to hear what you asked me, so ask me again. I want to
I
recap
was,
on that.
we were talking about ways to avoid people being on the radar of CPS, and you gave me a example of a kid with a dirt bike and goes through a wire fence. And I'm saying once that kid gets hurt, he needs to be seen by medical, so that way they can justify it was done by bicycle and not done by the parents doing something to the child.
Right. Yeah. Um, I mean, they did all they could. They contacted everyone involved, including the game warden. Um, so yeah, I mean,
So that they didn't get
it,
put.
it
They weren't picked up by CPS, right?
no, no.
Okay, so they're good. So give me an example of something like that where a person got on the radar and CPS wouldn't let them go, where it was an innocent act. Can you
I
think of
mean,
anything?
you look at. I mean, I don't know too many. Well, I know one um who shouldn't even be on the radar for because she took care of her kids. She did everything for her kids. She just was in a violent situation. And because the boyfriend at the time or whoever he was, the father or whatever, was always assaulting her and the kids were seeing it, and she tried to reach out to people but no one would help her. Um, they still got involved and took her kids. And to me
Right.
that's not even right.
Okay. So in a situation like that, I would think that she should have reached out even more to get some kind of a letter, a notice of stay away from her with the boyfriend, right?
Right.
Because the
Darren,
boyfriend caused the
yes.
situation to happen.
I see Darren's with us. Darren, are you and Mary all right? We're all kind of wondering. I know you're there. Oh yeah, I agree,
Patty
Terry.
says
That
that
is their favorite types of cases.
they're their favorite type of
Yeah,
cases.
we're
Yeah.
good. We're good. Everything's fine. It'll be fine.
All right, good.
So you're saying, Carrie, that sometimes it makes it worse if you get like law enforcement or other people involved. Worse, meaning the relationship between the mother and the boyfriend. Is that what you're saying? I think that's what she meant.
She said it's more dangerous. Yeah, it's more dangerous. Yeah.
Okay. So then, how can that be circumvented then? Because it can't go on. Because if it goes on, um, the mother's going to get hurt, the children are going to get hurt, and CPS is going to get involved anyway.
Yep.
When it wasn't the mother's fault.
Yeah, it wasn't the mother's fault.
No.
There isn't.
Well,
No, there isn't, Carrie.
I hear I hear Carrie saying that there isn't much help for people in those type of relationships and I guess situations. But there's got to be something that could be done. I mean, something, because it's just the boyfriend created the situation. Now CPS gets involved. The mother didn't do anything wrong, and the kids are taken away. So that's not
Yep.
fair. But then on the other hand, I see why CPS came in because of the abuse that's going on.
Yeah.
Did the abuse affect the child in any way?
Yes, based on Vinny's scenario.
Yeah, emotionally. Yeah, emotional. They say it caused emotional distress upon the kids, is what they put it as.
Okay, so the kid was present during these attacks or something?
Yes,
Yes.
the kids were present during the attacks.
Were they physical in nature or just verbal?
It sounded like it was
They
verbal.
were physical and verbal.
It was physical and verbal? Okay. So, Darren,
Is the guy no longer there? Is the relationship any longer?
Yeah, no, he's no longer there now. No.
So then jeopardy's been alleviated. Why don't we just leave it at that? The woman took care of what the danger is. So why does CPS just not see that as the result in that? I don't understand how these fucking idiots get out there and they see, like, that lady Jess that came on the show. Like that guy was in jail for 2 weeks, and here comes CPS in there, and they come and take her kids. Jeopardy's been alleviated. It's been handled. Go on with your lives. Stop screwing with these people. Period. It's handled.
I agree.
Be gone with yourselves. There's no reason for
Darren,
everything's about the cash, man.
My question is, when it first started and CPS got involved initially, what could that woman have done? What I'm trying to say is, I'm going to throw the neighbors in now. The neighbors here, the screaming and the yelling and the kids and everything else, and they call CPS. Okay? They really call the police. And the police will come and the police get CPS involved. So now, what can that parent do to get CPS off their back? When the boyfriend is really the problem.
They got to go through the motions, because here's the thing. Once CPS gets involved, that initial event no longer matters, because now it's by their terms and what they want to do. Now your visits are under scrutiny. Now you're, like what you bring to the visits for this kid's snacks are under scrutiny. Now you got to go to counseling. That's under scrutiny. So the original instance now is no longer. Like, this poor woman just, her face just met a fist, and she did she couldn't control whether or not this guy was going to punch her or yell at her or whatever. And then she obviously, I guess, did the right thing by, eliminating that out of her life. So her jeopardy's met. Like, this is the thing, man. Like, when is enough for these assholes? Like, if it's truly about the best interest of the child, number one, all of us wouldn't be losing our kids. And number two, you would have plenty of time and plenty of opportunity to get your kid out of there at a sooner date. Not this 6 month on 6 month on 6 month on 6 months shit. That's only for funding. That's all that's for. So what needs to happen is we need to go and do an audit. Everybody needs, like we talked about the other night with what's his face there? Jesus, brain fart. Sorry. Anyway, you remember who I'm talking about. The dude that was talking about we all need to do the audit.
With Jade.
Yes. So
Jade.
That's what we got to
Yep.
do. We need to start pointing out where these guys are stealing our money. I mean, that's not fair that your kids have to wait 6 months to see you so they can get to the next scheduling point or the next finance point. That's hogwash. That's not right. That's not in the best interest of a child. A child that's constantly sitting there every day asking, I want my mommy, I want my daddy, what's going on? This, that, and this. And then they choose to lie to your child and say that mommy and daddy don't like me, mommy and daddy don't want me, mommy and daddy this, that, and this. That's bullshit. That's lying. That is abuse and neglect. But that's what's acceptable. This is what's acceptable behavior. And then on top of that, they're covered by immunity. So you go ahead.
Yep.
They're going to come in there and say that you lied about doing drugs, and you say, "Hey, you lied about doing everything," and that doesn't matter. Makes no sense.
Now, Vinny mentioned earlier about the ombudsman. Can't the in that situation with that lady, couldn't she have gotten an ombudsman to get involved with her situation? And after she met the fist
Yeah,
to try to get her children back.
you can call them all you want.
Yeah, there's right.
In the
Last
state
year
of
they had
Maine, we only
400.
have 3.
Oh, they have. That's 2 more than they used to have.
Well, now we're talking about the state of Maine.
Yep.
I'm talking about the entire United States.
Yeah, but they're only per state. They're independent groups, supposedly independent groups
Yeah.
that are there to monitor this stuff. But that's bullshit too, because they're just as far in bed with the CPS agents as anybody else is. Those ombudsmen are not. They're not biased. Are you kidding me? They work right hand in hand with these pieces of shit. And this is just what This is this.
Hey.
Like in the state of Maine, we had one. And out of this, here's your numbers, Herbert, for the state of Maine. And I know it's just the state of Maine, but this would be curious to look at the rest of the countries or the rest of the states. So there was 400 responses that the ombudsman had requests had to investigate. They investigated 63 out of those 400. That's how many investigations got put on.
Chris,
so not even out of
there
so
she
but then
is.
but
Chris,
then
I got to
figure
get
this.
you on the
There's
show.
there's 7,000 calls in the state of Maine. Out of that, they got 400 requests, which means that's only the messages they're taking. And then, like I said, it's 63 or 43 or 63 of them were answered. That's it.
So the ombudsman,
just so you guys know, just so you got, not to interrupt you two, but just so you guys know, this is my friend Chris. This is the one that just found the whole corruption in CPS, and they're holding them. I'd love to have you on the show, Chris, and have you share the info that you just shared with me, because I think that would help a lot of people understand.
So is Chris coming on?
I'm gonna see if she will. I'm gonna drop her a link. Chris, this is the link to get into the show. I would
you're absolutely
more
right.
than love to hear.
See, the thing is that there's all this stuff in line to prevent these things from happening, but the checks and balances aren't working. They're not working because they're not funding. They're not putting people in the right. Like they have all of this money and all of this budget that's coming in. They're not putting. So like if they spent the money the way that the money was intended for it to be spent, then it would work. The system would work, but it doesn't because these assholes that are running this stuff don't do what they're supposed to. The money doesn't get put where it's supposed to be put. It doesn't make it back to the families that require this stuff to get reunification. It doesn't make it to the departments that are less and less in their workforce. And they're all crying out loud, oh, we're getting overworked. We're over this and over that. Okay, well, talk to your management. Why aren't they getting more staff? Because the money is available. So why aren't they doing that? Whose problem is that? It's not ours.
That's bad.
So how do we rectify that? Who do we speak to?
We got Chris.
That's how we get. I think that's where we go back to the laws.
We do. We have Miss Chris with us.
Hello.
Hello, Chris.
Hi, Chris.
How are you?
Hello, Chris. Kitty, get off my stuff.
I'm pretty good. Dealing with same stuff, same drama, CPS. I don't know how much Vinny has shared with you guys about my story, but yeah, I uncovered a lot. So the agency, the parent coach, um, and also the marriage counselor, which I actually haven't told you everything that I've uncovered, Vinny. There's more. I actually went to the location. It's all a scam. It never existed.
Yep.
And they're the reason that my children have still not come home, that my twin stepdaughters are their goal got changed to guardianship, and we are uncovering that. So now my attorney is hiring an investigator. But it's pretty
Gee.
it's pretty big. So the she also asked to adopt my unborn daughter when she found out that I was pregnant because she wanted a white baby girl. She did accomplish that by adopting not me, my daughter, but she adopted one of her clients, and the only caseworker for the agency that has my case. Um, she's the supervisor and the caseworker. So it was her client um and then the caseworker's client, twin white baby girls. And I found out that she's married to a Russian woman. And doing some digging, I have found Russia is very connected to this trafficking of children.
Of course. That's what this war in Ukraine's all about.
Yep. And so and then she's from, so the entire agency that she came from, um, not the one that she started that was all fraud. The other one is a fraud too, but they're all from, what is it called? Not Jamaica. Vinny, didn't I tell you? It was, Nigeria. I'm sorry, Nigeria.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
So
Yep.
it's almost like it's, I don't know, but so her wife is Russian. And, and I worry about these twin girls these twin babies that were born right before my daughter was born. My daughter was born December 13th. I haven't even been adjudicated yet on that case. Um, it's been long, and I've had my other children. My other two have been gone for almost 3 years now.
Why were your
So
kids from the beginning? I'm sorry, I missed this part.
So it was originally a domestic dispute. I was the victim.
Yep.
And they said that I failed to protect because I didn't get an order of protection, but there was a no contact order put in place by the judge. So I was never told to get an order of protection.
Right.
They didn't take my children until 30 days after. So they came out to see me. And then she had me sign papers for intact. And then all of a sudden, like right up 2 days later, she texts me saying that there's gonna be a shelter care hearing the next morning, so at like 4 p.m. the next morning at 9 a.m. And she's like, in the event that the state grants or the judge grants custody of your children to the state, we need friends and family that are willing to take your kids. And I'm like, wait, what? And I called her. Obviously, didn't say nice things, hung up, called her back, said sorry, said you have to understand where I'm coming from. I'm upset. And then she went on the stand and said that she didn't feel that my kids were safe with me. Had I had known what I know now, I would have cross-examined her and said, well, so what changed from yesterday to today? Because you never took my children from my care. But I don't know, reading the investigative files, they don't have a case on we've eliminated the safety concerns for I'm sorry, for my two other children for, the domestic violence. And that's on the permanency reports. But they're still gone. They're claiming my mental health now
Oh,
is the reason.
no,
And
the mental
so,
health is caused by them, right? The mental health, the depression, and the PTSD, and all of that stuff that's
well,
caused by
Yeah.
the removal of your
yeah,
children.
and I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I am a hothead sometimes. I will say
You're
that.
all
So do I,
hotheads.
right? And so do I. I'm brutally honest. Like, and I will be brutally honest and admit when my wrongdoing and admit that I did do that and I did say that and I did freak out. But don't put lies on me. When you put lies on me, now that's something I'm gonna freak out about. You know, that's where then you're gonna see the crazy Christy come out because like I'm the only one telling the truth in this entire case. Now you guys are gonna tell lies on me, like
Right. Well, how
they
do you win in a case that you're the only one telling the truth? You got a room full of
exactly
liars and one person telling the truth. You know what I
right.
mean? Like,
And you
how do
know
you do that?
there was perjury, so we went for the unsupervised visitation. It was within 9 months of the case first opening, and the case was going great. I was done with my services already. And the caseworker, the only caseworker left, she lied on the stand and said I tested positive for cocaine. And I've never done cocaine in my life. And we got the results back. I never tested positive. And they made me go to rehab for it.
Wow. Holy shit. Who had to pay for that rehab?
My insurance paid for it.
Okay. Yo, your insurance paid for it.
Yep. They have not paid for anything. It's always my
Whoa.
insurance.
Well, no. So there's a spot that you need to go on right there to add that to your little battle because that's fraud. Because I bet you 10 to 1 that they are already billing for those services for you, and then they're going to attach it to your care of that. So they're double dipping there. That's fraud.
So yeah, and the other thing I have uncovered, so the only one that I didn't pay for was the parent coach, which was the fraud. Now I have found that she also works for DHS.
Of
Um,
course.
and so she's double dipping as well, but she's only licensed, she's not licensed at all, like to do anything that she was doing with us. She actually got her she got a license to do parent coaching through India, an online India course. That was like a 12-hour course or something. She didn't get that until 2024. And she started working with us in May of last year. And so that was after my newborn was born. And so and I signed temporary custody over to my mom before my daughter Giovanna was born. And they didn't care. They still took her and they
Yeah.
won't. My mom's a licensed foster home. She has my other two children, but they will not put Giovanna with my mom. She's in a traditional foster home. So
Wow.
we've appealed it. My mom had a motion to intervene. She hired an attorney, everything, and they will not allow it. And she's the only one that does my visits because the agency is so, understaffed. They don't have staff to do visits. So my mom has to supervise the visits. Well, one visit on Fridays. I only get one visit a week. So, yeah. And then my twin stepdaughter, since their goal has changed, they have not been able to have contact with anybody in the family. So
Well,
it's I hope that we get somewhere. I hope that this, I know there's other
Yeah,
families
her
stuff.
her case is expensive.
And I do advocate for people. I don't know the laws in other states, so I try to keep it to Illinois because I do know because I am going back to school for law just to be because I want to be an advocate, but I want to know the law. So not
What
to be a
state?
lawyer, but just
What state are you in?
I'm in Illinois.
Okay,
Illinois.
Yeah.
Abraham
Illinois.
Lincoln's backyard.
Yeah. And it's interesting that
Yep.
the northern region, because it's split by regions, the northern region has the most amount of children that are waiting
Yeah.
for permanency, like placement and adoption in the entire state of Illinois. And the numbers have gone up. And then I looked at One Hope United, the agency that I work with, and it how much money they get is sickening. Um, there's a lot of fraud going on. I could just say that. I mean, my caseworker has an Illinois.gov email, yet I can't find her anywhere like that in like the Illinois State Comptroller or like where she would be working with the state that she would have an Illinois.gov email because it's a POS agency. So in Illinois, I don't know if you guys are familiar with this, but so I don't work with DCFS. I work with a purchase of service agency that is contracted through DCFS. So mine's not, I don't work with DCFS at all. And
So
that's
who do
like
you
now
who do
they're
you
getting
work with? If you don't work with that, who do you work with?
It's a purchase of service agency that they don't do background checks. They don't. It's basically the people that worked for the agency until most quit. Well, all of them quit. It was the one girl and all of her sorority sisters. And there is a lawsuit going on actually because the old supervisor got caught. She was working for DCFS and the supervisor of the agency. And you can't do that because that's you're double dipping, like, and so, but she got caught. She had a DCFS credit card. She spent $3 million on the credit card gambling. And that's when they found out that, and she said that she was working with, that she was a DCFS, blah, blah. She was caught, I think, in Michigan, I want to say. And she ended up just disappearing out of nowhere. And we've looked it up, and there is a lawsuit going on right now. And there's a few people from the agent that were in the agency that are named in that lawsuit.
Oh,
So,
good.
but I don't know what they're, but I think it's just like using the, I don't really know because it's all hidden. Like you can't see all the details. But I know some people that have like looked and like found it. All I can see is that it's Northern Region. There's a Northern Region agency. Um, but I find more and more details out as time goes on because everybody thinks that I'm, just a
Crazy.
conspiracy theorist. Yeah. And that like, that I'm just crazy and thinking they're out to get me, blah, blah, blah. No, now you guys are starting to realize I'm not, you know. My children were brought to me at 1 and 3 years old without a
You're
car
not
seat.
crazy, Chris. We talk all
They
the
make
time,
you.
Chris. You're not
Well, we
crazy.
are crazy though. We're all crazy because they make you crazy. If you work with them, you can't not be
Yep.
crazy. I
Yep.
mean, Jesus Christ, the way that they.
You
But
know,
yeah, they drove my children to me to a visit
someone told
without a
me
car
that
seat.
they could.
What was that, Vinny?
Someone told me today that they got a bet going on. Someone told me today that they got a bet going on to see when the parent will actually do something to themselves.
That doesn't surprise me.
And it's the sick, twisted little bet that the department holds with their workers
Yeah.
to see
Well,
how far they can push a parent before
you
they
know,
break.
one thing I want to mention that I found out today, and I'm going to look further into, and I'm also going to bring this up for anybody watching that may have went through this, but it depends on the state. Some states, they could drug test moms without their consent, when they're pregnant. Illinois is not one of those. So you have to give consent to be drug tested. I was not. I although it was like an unconfirmed test, it was a rapid dipstick test. I was prescribed trazodone, and it comes up. There's research studies like all over the place that trazodone will cause a false positive for MDMA, and it did. But they did an umbilical cord test. They tested my daughter when she was born. That's not even why they took her. But now that they are, looking into the medical records, which I didn't even know that they did all these things because they never said anything to me because they obviously knew it was my medication, the hospital at least. But now they don't realize these medical records and that being in there is really hurting me because they think like I was using ecstasy, MDMA, whatever, my entire pregnancy. I'm like, it would have been in the umbilical cord test. Like, yeah, I just decided to either I did it every day or I just decided to do it every time I went to the doctor. Like, come on now. But I would have never thought that that was true, that could come out positive, but you guys can look it up. Trazodone will cause a false positive on a rapid dipstick test for MDMA.
Yes, it will, because I was on trazodone myself.
Yeah. And I didn't know that. But they never told me that I tested positive at the hospital or at any of my doctor's appointments. And so I didn't, even think anything of it. But I knew that somebody called in anonymously, supposedly. But that's illegal. So there is a lawsuit going on. Actually, it's for the same hospital that I delivered my daughter at because she tested positive for opiates, and I guess it was due to poppy seeds or something. And but they didn't tell her that they were doing a drug test on her. So she filed a lawsuit, and I just found the article, and I've been reading the lawsuit about it. So I am going to get involved in that, but that is something that, moms and dads, just be aware of that, because they need your consent. It depends on the state, like I said, but you do need to give consent for a drug test. So
So in the state of Illinois, if a woman's given birth, they have to ask that
yeah,
woman for drug tests. I mean, they don't just do it automatically.
they're not allowed to drug test you, not even just giving birth. That's at a doctor's office in general.
No,
Correct.
not the
Correct.
doctor's office. Not the doctor's office. I'm talking about when you're in the process of actually giving birth.
No, they cannot.
No,
They
they
cannot
can't
test
unless,
that
like,
baby until the baby is actually born and alive.
right. But then they do have the right to test the baby, because the baby is no longer attached to you. So now the
Only if the
baby,
baby lives. Only if the baby lives.
if the baby survives, correct. Which, I knew that they were going to do an umbilical cord test. And, and I don't care. All my kids had umbilical cord tests. I didn't care. And my umbilical cord test came back, with only what I would, because I am on medication that I've been on since I was 14 and 6, two medications that I was on with both my, both my other children. And, so I had the approval to stay on them. I was monitored. I actually died giving birth to my daughter. I luckily they did a emergency hysterectomy to save my life, but I didn't know. My husband had to sign consent for it to happen, but I woke up having a hysterectomy. But
It's terrible.
but yeah, they took her. But regardless, I mean, I had already signed over. They say that we failed to protect, but I'm like, I signed over temporary custody. You can't even say anticipatory neglect, because I took precautionary measures to mitigate that from ever happening, and yet you guys are still claiming anticipatory neglect. Like, there's, so when the adjudicatory hearing comes, we had the permanency hearing for Dominic and, or for my two youngest. Um, Finally, we haven't had one since last October. We had one again on the 16th of September, and it didn't finish because my lawyer was going very hard. He filed a motion to discharge the agency. The judge wouldn't hear it, didn't deny it, but it just wouldn't hear it that day. But it's still ongoing because the caseworker is now being cross-examined. So we'll see how this plays out. But now it's continued till October. And I told my lawyer today, I sent him an email, that I want him to file a motion to dismiss without prejudice for the fact that the adjudicatory hearing has not happened. And in the alternative, if they, will not do that, then change placement of Giovanna to, or my newborn, to my mother, who is a licensed foster parent and who has her biological siblings that are close to her age. And my mom's the only one that does the visits, and it's in the child's best interest. And they violated both of our due process rights, by not doing the adjudicatory hearing, by everything on the affidavit that they filled out to get her was all a lie. It was all based on hearsay. None of it was factual. So yeah, it's just the caseworker's out to get me. She doesn't like me. She's very racist, and I think because I'm very against people who are racist, because I come from a mixed family, my sister, and you know, so I don't take lightly to that. And that's, I think, where we butt heads. So she's not. She grew up in a, like, she's black, but she grew up in a white neighborhood, and she doesn't like me because, I don't know, because I'm not
Sure.
racist. I don't know. But
Ridiculous.
she doesn't like me at all. And
Well,
I speak my mind.
well,
So
we're getting towards that time, guys. But Chris,
Hmm?
yeah, we got to get you on the show more often,
Yeah, I
Chris, so you
know.
can
I know.
actually share more in depth on your story.
Yeah,
Um,
I would love
because
to.
like I keep saying and doing and say, we're not advocates, we're not attorneys. This is just basic knowledge to help other people
Right.
um
we all are going through the same battle and dealing with the same crap with
Yeah,
CPS and the judges and the courts and the AAGs. We're dealing with tons of corruption, and
yep,
it
I
needs to
know.
stop. It needs to come to an end.
It needs to.
Um,
I
Title
know.
4E is definitely riveted with
Yes, the
fraud.
incentives are, putting an incentive on there. That's what it's about. I mean, get rid of the incentives and it would eliminate a majority of this problem. It's like, it's, I'm putting more towards family preservation instead of, we almost lost our funding for family preservation this year. We had to fight for it because we weren't using it. And,
Yep. Use it
but
or leave it.
yeah, it's been a fight. And I tend to run into more grandparents that want help than parents though, and that
Mhm.
is interesting to me. I don't know why that is, but yeah, so but I do have a lot of knowledge. I'm trying to learn more about other states, in Maine I've read a lot recently. There's a lot going on there. Um
Oh, your name is the snake's head. No one listens to me, but you're going to see that this is where it
oh
all
my gosh.
is going to
And
be
I
it.
have looked into it a lot recently and I'm like it is. It's very bad, and I mean it's bad everywhere. And that's the thing is, we all need to just come together, and we need to see
So
the.
with that said, do you guys want to
One what? Hello, Vinny.
Oh,
you guys there?
Yeah. You started to say, "Hey, with that said, do you guys want to?" And you
You
didn't
there?
say anything else. Yes.
Yeah, you guys all there?
Yes, we're here.
All right. You guys want to do? With that said, you guys want to do last words?
Sure.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear
Yeah.
you, Vinny. I'll start off. My last words are: babies cry and have no ability to tell you what they need. It can be
Can
very
you can hear
frustrating at
me?
times. Yes, Vinny, we can hear you. Yes, 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 we can hear you. Frustrating at times for parents. Frustrated parents can make poor decisions and shake the baby to try to get the baby to stop crying. But they don't realize by shaking the baby, especially a new infant baby that's crying, it can be shaking up things inside that child and causing harm to that child. So this is one thing, just as an example, when you take that child to the hospital or to medical, they're going to say you abused the child. So you have to be careful with what you do with your children to avoid being a victim of CPS. So learn all you can about CPS and try to avoid being a victim of CPS. Katie, were you able to hear me?
I was.
Okay. So I guess Vinny's probably having some technical difficulties,
Yeah,
but
Sound
it
like
would be
it.
really nice if we could have you come back on again.
I would love
And
to, and
Let's
I
get her to
would.
do some
yeah,
last words. Katie, you got your last words for us?
Katie, you have some last words?
Are you guys talking to me?
Yeah.
Um. So you know what? I think that everybody out
I don't know
there,
what's going on with my
push
internet
for your
tonight, guys,
children to
but it's
have
just
their voices heard, because
Mhm.
that's a big problem. And I think that's one of the biggest problems is these children's voices are not heard. And, you know, I feel like Vinny, especially with his situation, they brainwash these kids and, be careful. Don't trust and don't think that the parent coach is your friend. None of them are your friends. Do not ever
Mhm.
think that anybody in this field is your friend. They're not. And they all go back, they all talk, they all report everything. And they fight, fight, fight for your kids' voice to be heard. And just stata zit, as they say in Italian. Just be quiet, shut your mouth. Otherwise, spend the time with your kids. Just don't say anything to these caseworkers. Do the best that you can. Just don't say anymore, because that's a lesson learned, at least in my case with a few people.
That's good.
Okay, Vinny, are you back? Can you hear us? Vinny? Okay, Darren, I guess you could take over. I guess Vinny can't hear.
I'm locked in right now. I can't really do
Okay,
much here. Second.
you can't do much. All right, well,
Hold on. Actually, hold on a second. Hold on. Let's see if I can get in. My cat sat on the keyboard, so I don't know where Vinny is. Hold on, Kitty, come here.
Vinny's there, but I don't think he can hear. He can hear us.
All right, I'm gonna step out. I'm gonna come right back in. All right, I'll be right back.
Okay. Okay, Katie, Darren's going to step out for a minute. He's going to come back in, and he's going to conclude the show. And yeah, I know people up in Peoria, Illinois. I hear that's a very big Muslim environment. Am I correct?
Oh, yes, I know quite a few people in Peoria too. Actually,
Yeah.
I have family in Peoria. I was just in Peoria.
Uh-huh.
But there's actually some advocates that work out there. I'm not an advocate myself, but I do know some advocates in Peoria. But
Okay.
they're doing a lot in Southern Illinois. They're improving, they're changing a lot with the system out there in the southern part of the state. But
That's good.
yeah, we need to just get it everywhere. So, there's
Yeah,
a
I
lot
think
of,
if you stay on the show with us, you're going to learn a lot from a lot
yeah,
of people, from a lot of situations that will probably be able to help you
Yeah.
in Illinois.
yeah,
You see?
yep,
You're
I
back.
believe so
You're
too.
back, Vinny? No, I guess not. Yeah, you'll learn a lot. There's a lot of situations, a lot of stuff that goes on, and how people are handling it. My Just to let you know who I am, I'm Herbert. My background is law enforcement,
Okay.
and I came on the show because my cousin had her baby, her granddaughter, stolen by CPS, and that's how I got involved. And I shared my stories about being involved as a police officer, responding with CPS to doors where there were wellness checks being done. And that's how I got involved in this show. And I
Yeah,
explained to all the parents that we as police officers are not supposed to be involved talking to you as a parent. That's up to the caseworker, you
right.
see? And it's
Now,
wrong for officers to say anything.
in Illinois, they have to be accompanied. A DCFS worker has to be accompanied by a police officer because of
Yes,
the
Right.
killings that were
Right.
happening.
yes,
But the police officers that were involved in our situation, we still talk to them, and they can't believe that our kids have not been returned. They cannot believe that
right,
this is going on. They never expected this to happen, and they even say that they would testify to us being
yes.
good parents. And
Yeah, the
it's
police, the police are not against you. The police is
no,
just
they're
there to
not.
keep the peace between you and a caseworker. That's the only
Yeah,
reason why they're there. You see, and then as
yeah,
time went on, I took on the situation of trying to figure out how we can avoid CPS.
yeah.
You see,
And
so there's two angles. One is to fight them, and the other one is try to avoid them.
All right. Well, I guess my last.
Are you back, Vinny?
Vinny's back.
Well,
Vinny's back.
can you guys
Vinny, are
hear
you
me?
back? Yes,
yes,
we can hear you. We heard you all the time. Every time you spoke, we heard you.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, my
So speak.
internet's going wonky tonight. I don't know why,
Okay,
but
but yeah, we can hear you
I
perfectly.
guess my last
Yeah.
words are this: keep
What's your
fighting,
last?
never give up. Do not let
Okay.
CPS in your door over the weekend. And like Herbert always says, try to avoid being a target of CPS.
Right.
it's hard to
And
do.
on that note, we are out of here.
Okay.
Get to this.
who has been torn away from their security blanket, their parents, the ones who stop the boogeyman from terrorizing the nights and curing their boo-boos when they scrape their knees. Now just imagine how they must feel when the CPS meant to protect them tears them away from their supposed abusers and places them with strangers who have zero comforting skills. They need to be calm. They are confused, lost, panicked, and needing their parents, but CPS took them away for the purpose of saving them. The kids don't even know why, and they are told that the parents they attach to no longer want them. What do you think that does? Do you think that this is how protecting children is supposed to look? Abolish CPS.